What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was chosen by Ophis herself and declared the new infinite dragon god in HighSchool DxD? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. What have I done? Was the words spoken by a woman in hollow tone. The same words she said from time to time since that day. The woman looks like in her mid-20s. She had a thigh-length black hair, a pair of blank onyx eyes. Standing around 6 inches 5 in height, she wore a tight black leather jacket with a matching leather pants, black leather gloves and black high-heel boots. All I wanted to do is getting back to Dimensional Gap and claimed what is rightfully mine from that fool, but my course of action led the world to chaos and its untimely destruction. Earth, or what's left of it, now covered in ruins. Most of the planet now can be described as barren, empty wasteland. I'm the freaking infinite dragon god. For fuck's sake, why I didn't act like one, and I chose the path of childishness and hell-bent on revenge on the Great Red for taking my silence. The woman now started to cry and weeping as she remembered during that day, where she lose everything she had cared for. I'm too naive to think they will abide to my bidding, but it turns out they had a hidden agenda and backstabbed me and took my power for their own purposes. Sob. If only, sob. If only I took my position as their fucking leader seriously. I could fight back against them and took several peoples with me so we can counter their plans. She inhaled. But I've been too ignorant about their hidden agenda and allowed those morons stole my power to create another ME to fight for their cause. She started reminiscing the day when people, no, assholes from Chaos Brigade's sub-faction, Hero Faction, used Samael to extract her power. If only I moved to stop them back then and ignore my stupidity, thinking, there's no amusement in wiping them out now. I wouldn't have to worry losing my Issei Tusan, and Rias Ka-chan and my sisters. Sob. Now the woman curled into fetal position and more tears flowing from her eyes. Asia, Irina, Zenovia, Kaneko, Roswise Ne-san, Akano Ba-san, Gaspar Ni-chan, Kiba Ni-san, Azazel Gigi. She cry more as she remember one by one her family were slaughtered on that day. Tilda Ouroboros. Tilda. That day was actually the term the black-haired young woman used to call the event known as the Apocalypse. It's an apocalyptic event when a supernatural terrorist group known as Chaos Brigade declared war on the alliances and started attacking hell and heaven alike. During the course of the war, Chaos Brigade had many advantages due to the possession of several Longinus sacred gear and the evil dragons who doesn't even know fear ravaging the battlefield and killing many important members of the alliances and wiping out several the alliance's posts, forcing the alliances on a massive retreats. Things look so bad even with Michael, Azazel, and 4 Satan's combined power doesn't enough to stop them, and what's worse, Euclid Lucifuge, younger brother of Graphia Lucifuge, managed to recreated boosted gear and divine dividing alike and used it to maximum potential with a special upgrade, red constant juggernaut drive without the need to consume its user's life force. During the siege, many soldiers of the alliances fought bravely against all odds, but bravery alone is not enough to stop them. The battle continued for the rest of the day, which resulting massive casualties on both sides, and the angels' exodus of heaven due to have less personnel and their reinforcement has been cut off, forcing them to evacuate from heaven and taking refuge in underworld. The next stage of the war was the most bloody of all. The war has been dragged to human realm, and the so-called apocalyptic beast, Trihexa, has been released by the Chaos Brigade and running amok, destroying everything in its path, and that's including human settlements spread across the globe. Many countries fight back using their firearms, tanks, aircraft jets, and any modern weaponry, but to no avail. Their weapons has no effect on the beast at all. Hell, several superpower nations like America, France, Russia, England, and Germany launched all their nukes they had at the beast in desperate attempts, and it's only pissing the beast off. No actual damage has been done. The alliances quickly aid humanity as best as they can, holding off the beast. While this is happening, Chaos Brigade come out and started killing opposing forces. It was a mess. All across the globe the dead bodies of human and supernatural beings alike sprawled lifelessly, while those who still fighting watch in horror as the beast never looks tired from destroying everything and keep regenerating from the wounds they inflicted. When all hope seems so lost, some miracle happened. Great Red, the massive red dragon god emperor, came to aid humanity and the alliances. The battle turned into a stalemate between Great Red and Trihexa. The battle however also turns from worst to worst, as the two entities fighting each other exchanging blow. The shockwave of the attack act like a tsunami at a speed of Mach 10 with a range between 50 miles or more, decimating humans and supernatural beings who caught up in the blast, and at the same time each blast destroying Earth's magic ley lines, disabling the mage's ability to use magic and summoning their familiar to fight. Using this opportunity, surviving forces of humans and the alliances wiping out the magician faction of Chaos Brigade with extreme prejudice. Flesh and bones met rain of hot lead, shredding their body like hot knife through butter. Sound of machine guns, light spears, and scream of agony echoed throughout the skies as the last member magician faction dropped with a thud and a hole right between the eyes. While that was going on, the infinite dragon god went suicidal move, even though she knows she had been weakened, by killing every member of Chaos Brigade sub-faction known as Hero Faction. Officially, it consists many of heroes descendant from different mythology, but according to the dragon god personally, it consists of many stuck-up jerks, assholes, and skanks of a hero's descendant who hell-bent on destroying the world where they live in. And the dragon god have a bone to pick with them. The battle was short but extremely destructive, as the dragon god unleashed her wrath upon them. She unleashed her power without worry, the need to control her power as her uncontrolled power output enough to reduce everything to ashes. Many of the so-called hero, one by one, die in her hands. It was a slaughter, none were spared from the dragon god wrath. Even though she was stabbed, bombed, shot, and slashed multiple times, it didn't waver her resolve to eliminate this faction, as they were her greatest mistake in her life, and she won't stop until she every last one of them dead. At the end, the dragon god pass out from the wounds inflicted upon her, especially the wound from that Longinus spear. On the other side of the battleground, two young men in a red and white draconic armor stood victoriously against the dead Chaos Brigade leader and the leader of Old Mao faction, Rizavam Levon Lucifer, and their head researcher, Euclid Lucifuge, both wearing the imitations of divine dividing and boosted gear respectively. Retrieving the last pieces of Sephiroth Graal and combined it with other pieces. Both fighter flew together to join fight against the apocalyptic beast. The battle continued for the next 2 days and causing more casualties. At this point 98% of world populations, including humans, animals and supernatural alike, has been wiped out, and Earth's life force is already dead, and, at this point, the remaining allied forces, including the two young men, Great Red, and the leader of each allied faction, sacrifice themselves to slay the beast, and in one amazing feat the beast has been slain using the combinations of Great Red's power, Sephiroth Graal, and the life forces of remaining allied forces. The war is over, with a cost that no one ever imagined. Ouroboros. The raven-haired beauty now laying on the ground, her blank eyes staring into the brownish-colored sky. That was 1,000 years ago. I can live peacefully for more than 4.5 billion years in silence. But after I met my family, I can't even live in silence for more than 1 hour, Ophis said. My heart now craved for love, compassion, and kindness like the one you showed me long ago, Ophis sighed. She then reaches her pocket and pulled out 2 pictures. The first picture was taken by Issei, before they went back home from the hot spring. In that picture, whole orc members with Rias hugging Ophis, who's sporting a rare smile from behind. Why, it had to be you, she said sadly. The second picture was taken by Rias, her mother figure, before they went back home after shopping from the mall. Ophis looked at the picture lovingly, albeit with a sad face. It's a picture of smiling Issei giving Ophis a piggyback ride, with the latter holding a puffy cotton candy. Why not me? The one who started this Holocaust. The one who opened the Pandora box and destroyed the world. Why not me? The one who created the forces of darkness to indirectly kill my own family, she said in depressive tone. Why took them from me? She said sadly as tears starts flowing again from her eyes. Ophis take a last look at the pictures before she hugged the picture as if she didn't want it to let it go. Eventually, Ophis closed her eyes before letting her consciousness fall into darkness as sleep claims her mind and body, trying to ease of her pain that were pent up for a millennia. 2 figures stand side by side watching the dusty-colored sky. One figure stood 6 feet 4 inches tall, wearing black robe covering all of his body, a bandana that cover all of his head, and wearing a white mask with kanji letters for regret. Regret. Did Master always take this long to mourn her family? A feminine voice asked him. Regret looked to his right side to see his partner. His partner is a young woman with 5 feet 8 inches tall, wearing the same black robe like him but with her hood on and wearing a white mask with kanji letter for suffer. Suffer, I wouldn't complain about our master mourning her family. I mean, didn't she tell you her background? The man replied. Of course I know, Regret, I'm not implying that I'm complaining about this, I just want to know how long she usually does this. The taller man replied with a sigh. Depends on how much she pent up her frustration. But, she usually finished in 2 or 3 hours. Aren't you supposed to know this? The taller man gruffly asked. Regret, for your information, I'm only serve under her tutelage for 8 years and you said a day earlier this is her annual tenure to pay respect to her family, so this is my first time accompanying our master to this place. Hee you said, my first time, hee. Suffer turned her head at the taller man giving him a look before rolling her eyes incredulously, perverted bastard. Jokes aside, Suffer, I will say get used to it. You know how she suffer from the regret of how her family died and the source of the destruction of her home world will always make her heart filled with guilt. The taller man explained. That being said, don't try anything to ease of her pain. Huh? Why? It's not healthy to let one individual trap oneself in continuous negative feelings. It will affect her mental state, the sufferer asked with worry. She really worries her master condition. Oh, trust me, I tried once and she wrecked me up badly. The taller man shuddered at the memory, and for your information, I didn't ask her for one night stand or any bullcrap like that to forget her pain. I have too many respect for her as much I respect my former leader of my former homeland, and I'm not that kind of bastard who stoops so low to get into her pant while using such reason to get laid despite my unique remarks. The hooded young woman looked at her partner. Could have fooled me, she thought. Then what did you do? What's the first thing crossed in your mind when I said, wrecked me up badly? Suffer looked at her partner once again before widen realization. You were either brave or foolish to challenge her for a fight. Suffer shook her head. You know you could have just give advices rather than challenge her. Hey, in my defense, I thought she need to wreck something to release her stress and I'm not good at comforting people so I offered to spar with her, the taller man said sheepishly. You know how destructive her power can get and you let yourself voluntarily, if I might add, be her punching bag. What are you, a masochist? The taller man chuckled. Well, I always wanted to be chained up to bed and getting. Nope, I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening to your screwed up fantasies. Suffer quickly covered her ears and started walking away from the taller man. Said man now laughing at his partner reaction, but his expression changed when he heard a tone from inside his robe. PDA was pulled from inside his robe before you look at the PDA. Suffer, it's almost the time. Regret's voice changed into one of professional. Suffer, who was walking away from him, stopped and turned back to the taller man. She too changed her tone to one of professional. Really? Wow, time sure flies fast, she said. The man replied with a nod. Let's go. On it, she replied. A second later both individual vanished from their position, leaving an electrical crackling and purplish black trails. Ouroboros. Immortality. To put it simply, the ability to live forever. To some people, such ability is a tempting gift. Imagine you can live forever, achieve anything human cannot accomplish in several decades, learn any knowledge existed in the world, master every martial arts existed in the world, become a billionaire, develop your own Half-Life 3, you name it, and you got an eternity to achieve such achievement without the need to worry about disease, poison, injury or any assassinate attempts on your life to hinder your goals. But to some people, it's a curse. You may have all eternity to achieve your ultimate goal, but did your precious people share the same ability? Said immortal may go crazy due to untold amount of time passing, boredom and forced to watch those who didn't share the same ability to die, especially if the one who died is the immortal's precious person. Love. It's complicated. Some people it's a wonderful feeling when you romantically attracted to opposite. Some say it's an art. Some say it's joyous feeling. Some say it's an ultimate weapon. Some say it's an electrical disturbance when a boy and a girl shake their hands, and many more. One thing for sure, love is one thing should be never experienced by any immortal being unless you're a god, or a god representing love should. Inexperienced immortal, whether it's a god or human with nigh immortality, being in contact with this emotion, they tend to cling to this emotion as if their lives depend on it, and when they lose their precious people, said immortal's curse will eating them up, and it will multiply several times worse when love is in the mix. As Ophis learned the hard way. Ouroboros. It was a hellish view. That was the perfect word how to describe this scenery: dark skies, ruined city covered in ashes, destroyed war machines burning to the ground, and dead bodies scatter all over the place. Wearing some sort of gothic Lolita outfit, walk around limply while holding her bleeding stomach. Eyes. Rias. Kaneko. Gasper. Where are you? This is Ophis, the infinite dragon god, searching for her family members who had been grown close for the last months. The last conflict with the Chaos Brigade's sub-faction, Hero Faction, has taken its toll on Ophis, as she was now severely weakened, but still not enough to kill her, dampening her ability to regenerate quickly. Rosweiss. Kiba. Akeno. Asia. Xenovia. Irina. Answer me please. The dragon god raised her voice but received no responses. Michael. Sirzek. Azazel. Anyone. But again she received no responses. Only silence. Ophis keeps searching high and low for any survivors of this foolish war. A war started by the maniac named Rizavam Levon Lucifer, the new leader of Chaos Brigade, in order to conquer another dimension by unleashing the apocalyptic beast known as Trihexa. Well, not anymore. Kuroka. Valley. Biku. Ar Oaf. Ophis' word got cut off as she fall to the ground, stumbled upon a dead body. Cough. Cough. Damn it, how come I can't see a dead body in front of M? Her word died in her mouth as she turned around to see the face of the corpse of a familiar face, those chestnut, pigtails, black combat suit. Irina. Ophis quickly get up and rush toward Irina. Get up. Please get up. Don't you promise me to play card again after this is over? Ophis now shaking Irina as she attempt to wake her. Irina. Don't play dead with me. I know you're alive and you just want to mess with me. Ophis keeps shaking Irina. Come on, wake up. But as she shouts, she noticed something on Irina's body. A hole. A soccer ball size hole. On Irina's body, right where her heart located. No, Ophis said in realization. Irina's dead and there's nothing she can do about it. Ophis start to stand up and leave her friend behind. She need to find the others. Ophis search around again, but this time she found the other quite fast. 200 meters just north of Irina's position, she noticed another dead bodies with blue hair and green mesh prone beside a large blue blade with gold edges which is embedded on the ground. Xenovia. Ophis shouted as she quickly made another rush at Xenovia's position. Once she arrived, she quickly turns Xenovia body around, and quickly regret her action. No, how could this happen? Why is this happening? She was greeted by the sight of not only of dead Xenovia, but also the nasty wounds she had. Half of Xenovia's face was burnt, leaving it unrecognizable, and her right arm is missing. Ophis can only watch with her mouth agape as she tried to comprehend what happened in front of her. No, this can be happening. I don't. Ophis can't speak to express this horrible view, so she ripped some of clothes and covered Xenovia's face with it. When she's done, she stand back up again, leaving Xenovia's body behind to search for the others with a heavy heart. 2 hours later. How could this happen? 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 Ophis thought furiously as her mind went back to recap her family situations, and none of them were pleasant. Kiba. He was found lying dead with multiple stab wound and lacerations, along with a sword embedded deep to his chest. Akeno. She was found dead with 2 pair of her fallen angel wing brutally ripped off. Gasper. He was dead, pierced with so many light spears from rogue fallen angels. Kaneko. She along with Kuroka was found dead embracing each other. Rosweiss. So far she was the one looks experienced the worst death, while her upper body still intact, albeit with multiple bruise and lacerations. Her lower body were burnt to ashes. Asia. If Rosweiss experienced the worst, Asia was the least from anybody. She was found dead while clutching her Bible. But most importantly, Rias, her mother figure, was also found dead, lying on the floor with a pool from her own blood along with bruises, lacerations, and stab wounds. Ophis now walking in autopilot as her minds were having a breakdown, keep replaying the scene of her death family members. She keep walking and walking and keep walking until she reaches a massive crater at the center of the city. At the edge of the crater, she was greeted by the sight of two massive giants lying dead on the ground. One of them was a massive red dragon while the other was a beast with a disfigured face along with the dead bodies of angels, fallen angels, and devils alike. Ophis would have smiled victoriously knowing her rival was dead, but that if she didn't meet her family and still wanting to drive Great Red out of her original home. Now, what have I done? Losing her strength, Ophis fell to her knees. All I wanted to do was to kick that idiot Red from Dimensional Gap, she said with a depressive voice, but in the end, I created monsters that unleashed death to everyone on Earth. Then something clicked in her head. She created the monsters. She created the blasted Chaos Brigade. She's the one who opened the Pandora box of this world. She's the one who created the monsters and let them do what they want and let them ravage this world. And killed her family. That last statement caused Ophis to tear up and then cried when she realized she was the source of this apocalyptic event. After she lost 2/3 of her power, Hyodo Issei, the current Securite, offered her a place to call home. They didn't see her as a nuisance or the boss of Chaos Brigade. Instead, they see her as another member of their family and treat her just like that. And for the last few months she started to open up her feelings toward every member of Hyodo household, and much to Hyodo household joy, they happily obliged to teach everything she need to know about being a family. It was all going all right. But everything changes when Chaos Brigade started their campaign for multi-dimensional invasion and shattered everything apart. And she let that happen because she didn't have an active role as their leader to keep those bastards on the line and caused the death of her family. Huh? What was that? Her pointy ears twitching as she heard some noises from afar. Her face quickly lightened up as the thought of another survivors come into her mind. She focused her remaining magic into her ears to heighten her hearing. Ophis sure she caught something, but that was barely a whisper. Ophis pumped more magic into her ears. S-A-O. Again she can't barely heard the words. She put more again into her ears. Any? Now she can hear it even though it's still partially heard. She put more magic again into her ears. This time she doubled the amount. Someone, anyone, hell, oh? Ophis' eyes widened. She knew that voice. And she know where is it coming from. Wasting no time, she jumps into the crater, ignoring her injuries as she tumbling down to the bottom of the crater before she started running toward the center of the crater. Please be alright, she thought with concern. She didn't want to watch another members of her family dies. It hurt her. It hurt her so bad. She keep running and running until she reaches the source of the voice. When she arrived at the source, she was greeted by the sight of a brown-haired young man in a red-colored draconic armor leaning his back on a sword embedded to the ground behind him. He's missing an arm and there's a pool of blood on his stomach. Eyes, Ophis exclaimed as she embraces him in a warm hug. You're alive. Ophis, that's all Eyes could say before returning the hug. You, okay? I should be the one asking that question, Ophis retorted. He. Sorry, cough. That's all Eyes could say before blood starts pouring from his mouth. Don't talk, it'll only make it worse. Let me heal you. She moves her hand over him but was stopped by a bloody armored hand. Don't bother, Ophis. Whether you heal me or not, I will not survive this one, I said weakly. Don't say that, I will make sure you survive. Ophis release her arm from Eyes' hand and put hers above his stomach and concentrate her mana to form healing magic on her hand, only to find out none of his wound healing. Ophis, it's no use, he coughed some blood again. I will not survive. No, you will survive. You survived against Cao Cao. You survived against the evil dragons. You survived against that bastard Rizavam, and I will make sure you survives this catastrophe, she ranted. She concentrate more magic on her hands but to no avail, his wounds not was healing. Come on, damn it. Heal. Ophis, stop. No, I won't stop. Ophis, listen. No, you will live. I won't allow you to die. Ophis, I will not serve. Don't you dare say it. I won't lose you like I lose everybody else. Tears start to roll down her cheeks. Every boy dies. Eyes. Irina, Zenobia, Rosweiss, Gasper, Asia, Kiba, Kaneko, Akano, Rias, and more people I care dies. You're the only one left. Eyes. Her voice start to waver. I don't want to lose you like I lose everybody else. So I will make damn sure you live. She cried louder. Eyes was shocked by the fates of his friends and lovers and stunted by Ophis' reaction. For the first time in his life he saw Ophis cried and show compassion toward him. Maybe she started to open herself, but she still act like an emotionless drone with limited speech ability, but now, she's like showing her true self. Sob, do you remember when we shopping at the mall? That question made Eyes smile. Of course he remembered, it was one of the happiest moment he had with Rias and Ophis. Of course, I remembered. Why? His voice started to sound heavy. When I got lost, and the announcer made an embarrassing announcement. I don't really mean it, Sob, but when I told the announcer you're as my father, Rias as my mother and the others as my sister. I really mean it. Eyes was in a deep surprise. She really mean it? Rias of course is a mother material, but Eyes? Am I really a good father? I'm a good-for-nothing pervert who had a massive fetish for and dreaming to become a harem king, and she think I'm a father material? So, please don't die. Eyes too san. She hug Eyes in a gentle embrace and surprised Eyes with the suffix she used. I don't want to lose you, Sob. Like I lose Rias Ka-chan and my big sisters. She added as she starts to look up at Eyes with teary red eyes. Eyes look at her with a sad smile, and then he proceed to kiss her forehead and return her hugs. Thank you for seeing me as your father, despite disgusting things I've ever done in my life. He then turned his face to Ophis. But I'm sorry, Ophis-chan. Looks like this is my time to go, he said sadly. No, please don't die too, san. Look, I can create another body from great red flesh, and I can transfer your soul to your new beau. She desperately tried to convince him. That won't work, Ophis-chan. He cut off. I used all of my life force on our last attack against Trihexa. Ophis shocked once more. My life force has been depleted, you see. I'm still wondering why am I still alive when I'm supposed to be dead. Eyes spoke as his breath is getting heavier and his eyes slowly lost all colors. Ophis' eyes widened in horror at the revelation. It looks like his father's fate has already set on the stone and there is no turning back. No, 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 please too, san, please, don't go. Don't leave me, please. As if didn't want to let go, Ophis tightened her hug. Issei returned her hug once more. This time Ophis can feel how cold his hand. Ophis-chan? Yes, too-san? Do you love me? Sob, sniff? Why yes, I do too-san. Then would you listen to my dying will? Ophis know her father's death is inevitable, so, with that in mind, Ophis can only comply in sadness. What is your will? First, never, ever, let our death be a burden for you. Secondly, don't put the blame on yourself, Ophis quickly retort. But I'm the one who let those bastard cause this madness. And, let the other Issei quickly tightened his embrace on her, preventing Ophis from finishing her sentences. Don't, Ophis, don't, you didn't mean this to happen, you're just unfortunate that there's some madman manipulated you to achieve their twisted goals, Issei said. Issei could barely hear the muffled voice of Ophis. The can audibly heard as, I'm sorry. And my last will, live your life to the fullest? My draw. Gone, as the last word was said, Issei's hand went limp to his side, releasing his embrace from his daughter. To-san? Ophis asked, but she got no response. She looked at Eyes only to see a pair of lifeless eyes. To-san? Ophis repeated. She shook his body like she did with her dead mother and sisters, hoping her father to wake up. To-san? Please, wake up, don't leave me alone in here. She repeated once again, only to receive the same response like the other dead bodies she found. Silence. At this point, Ophis can only hug her father once again and cried once more. Hyodo Issei, the Securite, pawn of Gremory's heiress, fiancé of Rias Gremory, father of the infinite dragon god, just breathe his last breath. Tilda. Ophis' eyes flutters, waking up from the nightmare she just experienced, again with those nightmares, the same nightmare that haunts me for years. Ophis then stood up before looking back at her father picture once more. I've tried fulfill your dying will like you asked, to-san. But even with my best shot I still can't stop blaming myself for your death, she said in depressive tone. As for living to the fullest, I have tried it, to-san, but somehow I feel incomplete. Very incomplete, like quarterly completed jigsaw puzzles with the rest of the pieces are now gone. Never meant to be found again. She looked at the picture one last time before putting it back to her pocket. She went back, staring at the dirtied sky once more as her mind replaying her happy memories with her family. That is until her pointy ears picked up some disturbance afar. As if on cue, her sad face slowly morphed into a cold one. I told them not to bother me. Is something going on? Tilda Ouroboros tilde. I specifically told you not to interrupt me. Regret, suffer. Ophis spoke in monotone, her voice lacked any emotions whatsoever. You better have a good reason interrupting me. Her cold eyes lock at the tall figure. Forgive our rudeness, my master, but I believe I need to inform about our next schedule, Regret said as he and his companion kneeled down in front of Ophis. The next travel won't start for another 2 hours, so give me a damn good reason for interrupting my time. Ophis narrowed her eyes. She's really pissed off when someone interrupting her time alone. Deciding to take some of the brunt of their master anger, suffer speak up defending her partner. Master, if you hadn't noticed, you've been gone for 5 hours and it's almost the time for our next travel. Ophis blinked few times before she pulled a PDA from her pocket, tapping several view times, and notices that she really took her time too long to mourn. Ophis palmed her face in exasperation. I guess depression got me really hard this day, she thought as she put back her PDA back to her pocket. Rise, my faithful servant. The fault is on me. I'm the one who lost track of the time. Obeying their master order, Regret and Suffer rose from the ground. So what are your order, master? Regret asked. Go to Dimensional Gap and prepare the gateway for our next travel. I'll join you in a few minutes, Ophis ordered. Very well, master, we'll prepare the gateway. As soon as he said that, both Regret and Suffer surrounded by electricity and purplish black energy respectively before both of them vanished from Ophis' sight. Ophis sighed. She realized that she spent her time mourning too much. She didn't want that to happen because she still have much more things to do, but sometimes she can't help it, as that was the only thing she can do to reminisce her good old memories and reflect herself so she won't do anything stupid in the future. Well, I guess there's only one thing to do before I leave this place. Ophis turned around to prepare her last thing to do in this place. Flashback. Sing? Yes, Ophis-chan, we're going to sing at karaoke bar at noon today. Do you want to come with us? It was Irina asking, the younger form of Ophis. Why would you like to sing? Ophis tilted her head. Because we're going to fun together, Irina replied cheerfully. No, I mean, why would you like to sing? What is the purpose? Irina smiled at the dragon god. It's because to express ourselves, Ophis-chan, sometimes in order to express our desires. The perfect method to express ourselves by singing a song. And of course to have fun. Now do you want to come with us? Please? It will be fun, you know, with Ice-kun, Rias, Zenobia, and Asia. Ophis seems to think about it but didn't take too long to give her answer. I would like to come. Hearing Ophis answer, Irina jumped in joy. Great. I'll inform the others. I will tell you this, Ophis-chan, you will like it. Flashback end. Ophis take a deep breath and exhale. She's going to sing a song to express her feeling. She usually does this every time she finished her 10-year annual activity, hoping to let out all of her frustration. For a simple activity, it's quite effective to release stress. She take another deep breath and she starts singing with a slow pace. I'm so tired of being here. Suppressed by all my childish fears. And if you have to leave, I wish that you would just leave. 'Cause your presence still lingers here. And it won't leave me alone. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. When you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I held your hand through all of these years. But you still have all of me. Ophis closed both of her eyes and the image of her family come into her mind as she sings the next verse of the song. You used to captivate me by your resonating light. Now I'm bound by the life you left behind. Your face, it haunts my once pleasant dreams. Your voice, it chased away all the sanity in me. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. When you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I held your hand through all of these years. But you still have all of me. Now this is where the verse really express her heart. She took another breath before she let it all out along with all of her heart contents. I've tried so hard to tell myself that you're gone. But though you're still with me, I've been alone all along. When you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I held your hand through all of these years. But you still have all of me. Ah, me. Ah, me. Ah. As she finished, Ophis controlled her breath. She looked at the dirtied sky once more, but this time a small smile adorned her pale, pretty face, feeling some of her burden just leaving her body. I will leave soon to San, Ka-chan, Ne-sans, Ni-sans. Wherever you are. Wish me up good luck for my next travel. Black energy starts to gather around Ophis few seconds later like her servants earlier. She vanished from where she stood leaving black trails behind. Dimensional gap. The gap that separates heaven, underworld, and earth alike and considered as the void of the world. This kaleidoscope-looking realm was filled with the power of nothingness. The power to remove everything from existing in the world. If any living being steps into dimensional gap without proper protection will be completely erased from existence, leaving nothing behind, either they're humans or supernatural alike. Originally the home of Ophis until Great Red the True Dragon kicked her out from her kaleidoscopic home. Good old memories, Ophis thought as she floated around the gap toward her servants' locations. Unlike most supernatural being, Ophis herself is a living representation of nothingness. Wielding said power, she's granted the immunity of this destructive power and thus doesn't need any kind protection from the power of nothingness loitering around on this realm, making her the true ruler of this place. At first Ophis didn't know how Great Red can resist the nothingness in her home, but after searching some of her memories, she remembered that Great Red is a dragon that represents dream. Then she know how he can survive in this realm. Great Red can control dreams. He can make dreams into reality. If he want himself to exist in this realm, it will happen. If he want Ophis to lose, it will happen, and it did. Now, if he had this kind of power, turning dream into reality, why didn't he create his own realm to live in and choose to kick her out of her home and occupied it? Why he took her home? And how dare he interrupted her number one favorite activities in her top 10 to-do list? Doing nothing while floating around in dimensional gap. Okay, maybe he did a favor by kicking out Ophis from her home. And I feel like a certain pink-colored idiotic starfish in Hawaiian pant, Ophis inwardly grimaced. She once watches a cartoon where it is contained a foolish happy-go-lucky yellow sponge and his friend the idiotic pink starfish with Irina and Asia. She quickly asked Irina to change to another entertainment, as she put it back then, when she somehow feel insulted when she watched one episode where the idiot starfish said, "Nothing, I just finished," before pulling out a to-do list with a badly written, "nothing," and proceed to cross it with a pencil. Anyway, Ophis scoffed the idea of another worlds exist somewhere in this world. She thought Rizavam was only a bastard of a madman who want nothing but to see the world burns by using petty excuse to conquer another realm by using trihexa. But now she had to give him some credits. There is another realms accessible via dimensional gap. And she found it by accident when she accidentally unleashed certain amount of power when she trained herself to get a better grasp of her power, while that bastard seems to found it first by researching dimensional gap thoroughly. And Ophis Ophis loathed to admit that Rizavam managed to make a gateway to another worlds while the house owner can't do this shits for over 4.5 billion years. But thanks to him I can try to fulfill Tucson dying will, and treat my bleeding heart. Yes, treating not curing, despite her best effort to cure it, she can't. And the only way to sway herself away from madness was to treat her heart by living in the other world. For each world she visited, the first thing she always do was making acquaintance, friends with local population. Then she blend in with them, try to understand their societies more and study their world history. And then, she explored the world and studied it very thoroughly for every conflict she met, for every local, world events she went, for every culture she took a likings, and many more. If there's anything in some worlds that need for her aid, she would happily oblige and start to work immediately. Another thing she would do was making her name in other worlds, whether it's a medieval worlds or future worlds. But she usually does this on medieval worlds since it quite easy, such as slay a dragon, though Ophis felt it kinda ironic, but hey, it's evil dragons rather than future worlds where she need to be aware about bunch crap load of politics, economies, modern societies, public opinions, internet, etc, etc. But despite this, there's a future worlds that actually enjoyable. And after several amount of time, Ophis depart from the world and go back to dimensional gap. She would review and recap her progress before jumping to the next world. Ouroboros is the gateway ready? Ophis asked her servants. Unlike many living beings, Ophis gave her servants several blessings. One of her blessing is giving them the immunity from the destructive power of dimensional gap, hence why they are not wearing any kind of magical barrier. Yes, master. The gateway is ready to use. All we need now is the location. Regret replied behind him, and her partner was a large magical gateway in the form large spiraling mass of red energy. Alright, without further ado, we will go to. Ophis paused midway through her sentence as if she realized something. Master? Suffer spoke, what's the matter? I don't know where we are going next, Ophis said sheepishly. Master, don't tell me you forgot to arrange your next schedule, again? Regret sighed and scrunched his face. Hey, I'm in one of those moments, okay? I rarely forgot my schedule, this is only cyclical occurrence. Yeah, cyclical occurrence, Ophis retorted. See? This is why I told you to take a good rest or sleep every day or every time we finished our travels, but nope. You decided to stay awake all decades long claiming, I must make a reviews of our travel. I don't have time for sleep, you're the one who need more sleep, go take some sleep. I'm fine. And now where it lead us? Lectured Regret, seriously. Why you care more for us, your servants, rather than yourself? You need rest and sleep just like the rest of us. Ophis just rolled her eyes, half listening to her servants. Yes, Grandpa. I will take your advice to my heart, Ophis said mockingly, emphasizing the word grandpa. Regret's eyebrow twitched in annoyance, quickly retorts. Says the old hag who lived for 4.5 billion years. Regret said mockingly, emphasizing the old hag. You take that back. Nope, don't wanna. Regret? Nope, take that back or I'll make you. Nah, Regret, I'm going to say this one more time. Take that words back or I will smack your head so hard until your eyes pop out. Black aura started to gather around Ophis, indicating she didn't approve her servant attitude. However, being named after the feeling of sorrow or remorse, Regret decided to living up his name, then make me. Old hag, he laughed before vanishing in electrical crackling. That's it, come back here you little, Ophis raged. One could see her bright red of filled with rage and steam coming out from her ears before she too starts vanishing, leaving black trails behind. Suffer, who only watched her master and her partner throwing jabs at each other, can only palm her mask and sigh. The mortal and their antics. Tilda Ouroboros tilde. 5 minutes later. How you fell, master? Suffer asked her master, who now sporting a smile on her face. Hey, never better, I really need that. Thanks for asking. You're welcome, Suffer kindly before turning her gaze at her bruised partner lying next to her master. How about you, Regret? Get wrecked so bad? Totally worth it. The hooded servant shake her head at her partner before turn back her gaze at her master. Now, as much as it is fun for you to use my partner as punching bag, would you please select our next destination? Alright then, I guess it's time to work. Since I didn't plan where we going next, we just select random destination. Ophis moved towards the gateway and held both of her hands forward and channel her energy toward the gateway. When her energy made contact with the gateway, the red spiraling mass of energy started to spin faster. And faster. And faster until it turns into translucent image of a fast food restaurant, goes with the name, W.C. Donald. Nope, already visited. She waved her hand to her right side, changing the image on the gateway to another realm with the image of a boy with dirty brown with a ring of blonde hair. Nope, already visited, and too plain for my taste. Ophis waved her hand again and the gateway changed the image again to reveal a realm with America and Russia wage war at each other. What's this? World War III? Nope, I don't want to my next travel start with 2 superpower countries murdering each other. I thought you said you will gladly help any realm if they have serious problem, Regret asked while being healed by his hooded partner. Yes, but this realm's humanity doesn't have any alien, subterranean humanoid creature, space zombie or anything like that attacking them, only humans from different countries fighting from one big misunderstanding, so no. Ophis wave her again and the scenery change into a nighttime where she can see a teenage kid with red hair dual wielding short blades. I already visited this realm twice, so no. Ophis wave her hand again and the scenery change into a medieval looking with many people dress as nobles. No, both of Ophis' servants exclaimed. Ophis turned around to see her servants in confusion. Huh? Why? Suffer spoke with a venom in her voice. Didn't you recognize their clothes? Hell, you should have recognized all of them well. Master, you knew well how that place filled with corrupted noble. Spat Regret. Beside, aren't you the one said you don't want to do anything in that realm? Ophis turned her gaze back at the gateway and studied their appearances carefully until she fully recognized it. You were right, sorry I didn't realize it sooner, she said in cold monotone voice. Ophis quickly changed their destination again. This time the realm changed into an image with a shirtless young man with a girl a bit shorter than the young man swooning over the shirtless young man. The shirtless young man then say, "Tell me, do you ever dream being a vampire?" One could see Ophis and her servants grows a tick mark with the former's eyebrow twitch violently. Is this how vampire represented these days? Beneath his mask, Regret's eyebrow is also twitching. Unbelievable, I don't think I can look at modern time vampire the same again, Suffer said sarcastically. Ophis turned around facing her female servants. Hey, I took offense in that. One of my brother figures suffered similar yet different fate. Your brother figure is a vampire? Yes. No, I mean, he's a dampier half-human half-vampire. Suffer looked at her master in confusion. What do you mean by she? I thought he was your brother? Ophis is about to retort but quickly bit her lip. She didn't want to degrade her brother figure any longer. You know what? Drop it. I don't want to talk about it. End of discussion. Hearing her master, Suffer shrugged and decided to drop the topic. Okay. Ophis once again waved her hand to her side and another realm appeared, this time an image of 10 figures. One figure was a man in blue, red and white uniform with a star on the middle while wielding a shield with the same pattern. The other figure was a man in red armor with a glowing core at the center of his armor and both on his palms. The other figure is a tall green hulking man covered with muscle. Ophis didn't bother to look at the others as she knew who these people. Nope, we're not going there. Why? As I recalled Suffer and I haven't visited this world and they looks like a bunch of good guys. Regret asked at her master refusal. I visited that world once long before I recruit you, and I quickly become their target. Master, you didn't do something stupid in that realm, right? Ophis quickly turned her gaze at, no I didn't, Suffer, in fact I did a lot of good things. But, I made a mistake by releasing some of my power in that realm. You're not killing anyone, aren't you, Master? Of course not, Ophis replied. It's just that, when a powerful creature unleashed certain amount of power that represents their elements, how did you feel? Suffer put a hand on her chin. Well, for magical being represents fire beings, we can feel the warmth and rage of the fire. For those who represents water, we can feel the feelings of calm and soothing like water. Regret continue, earth is like strong-willed and full of determination and wind is like feeling a freedom or something. Correct? Ophis applaud. Now both of you aware of what I represents, right? Both of her servants nod. Then surely you know what the feeling is when I unleash my power. It doesn't take a long time for her servants to connect the dots. Impending doom and destruction. Correct. And that's why I always being chased by them. Anyway, let's find another realm. Ophis dismissed as she waved her hand once more, the image of a planet from orbit. The planet looks just like Earth but with some part of it covered by green mist. Ophis grinned when she saw the image. Looks like we finally found our destination, Helgen. The home of Helghast people. Regret perked up when her master confirmed her next destination. Really? I never thought you want to go back to that place again. You kidding me? Of course I want to go back to that place. We did so much to that planet to the point I considered it as my second home. Ophis said dreamily. Man, I wonder how Helgen this day. Yeah, me too. I wonder how the soldier I personally trained doing today. How long we've been gone? 12 years, Regret, 12 years. Damn, time sure flies fast. I wonder how's Visari doing these days, Ophis said, but keeping the last part to herself. Master, can I ask something? Suffer clearly confused by sudden happiness. Go ahead, Suffer. Why do you look so happy? And what is Helgen? The hooded servant asked. Ah yes, I recruited you 8 years ago, right? Well, I guess it's time for a quick history lesson. 10 years before I recruit you, I visited this realm with Regret and we gift the people of Helgen their long-lost desire. A place to call home. Ophis explained and quickly draw magic circles with glyphs. The magic circle then projects a hologram of Milky Way galaxy. Now, Helgen is a planet located at this. She touched certain part of the galaxy with her thumb and her index finger before making a zoom gesture. In response to her fingers, the galactic map zoomed to a star system known as Alpha Centauri, revealing 2 Earth-sized planets, star system, along with a planet named Vecta. Vecta more or less is a clone of Earth, while Helgen is harsh and uninhabitable planet with many valuable minerals. Both of this planet once controlled by a wealthy company named Helgen Corporation, a massive energy, industry and mining conglomerate dedicated to make a better place for the Earth colonies of Vecta and Helgen. Suffer cut off. Wait, what happened on Earth? Regret quickly answer. World War III happened, and before you ask, not that World War III feat we watched seconds ago, no. This realm's World War III occurred in 2055 to 2059. The aftermath of the war caused the humanity to lose too many of their resources and land, forcing them to go to space exploration to find another resources. That's why you can see human colonizing Vecta and Helgen. Also, just to lighten up Master's job, in 2116 Helgen Corporation realized the economic importance, managed to win a colonialization right, allowing them to colonize the Alpha Centauri system. I see, sorry for cutting you off, please continue, Master. Nah, it's fine and thanks, regret. Ophis said. Anyway, in 2129 the Helgen Corporation's colonies land on Vecta and established civilization on it. Along with the years that comes by, Helgen Corporation reached their platinum age at the year of 2190. Ophis touched the Earth clone planet to reveal some kind of holographic timer, and she set the time back to 2190 to reveal a beautiful city with many futuristic design. During the interval of 2129-2190 Helgen Corporation changed itself into Helgen Administration and even managed stockpiled their money to buy the right of Alpha Centauri system. UCN, United Colonial Nations, an organization dedicated to watch over humanity and their colonies who short on money and drooling over the amount of zeros in it, quickly accepted leaving the Alpha Centauri completely under Helgen administration control, leaving them flourishing. Ophis smiles. And as a sign of goodwill, in 2133 the Helgen administrator agreed to funds the ESA Interplanetary Strategic Alliance, a body that allowed individual colonies the ability to integrate defensive capabilities to their specific requirements, as well as enjoy full partnership in a unified defensive alliance of multiple colonies. Ophis continued. However, Ophis zoom out the system and swipe the map to Sol system and zoom out on Earth and revealed several peoples on meeting. Their ruling organization, UCN, begin to worry about the Helgen administration's stranglehold on the economy and any autonomy demands other colonies might demand. They also become frustrated that the Helgen administration is profiting off colonial endeavors that the UCN itself has underwritten. So that's why they issued to strengthen their army, United Colonial Army or UCA. They also made a new taxes and regulations which ends up revoking Helgen administration's contract they sold to them 74 years ago. Ophis said, frown marring her face. The Helgens refused this, and tried to talks with the UCN but failed since both organization and corporation do not budge on tariffs and self-defense. Ophis zoom out from Earth back to Alpha Centauri system and touch Vecta and set the timer to 2199, revealing a man on a podium giving speech to the people of Vecta. Then on 2199, the Helgen administration declares Alpha Centauri as an independent entity, which sparks a war between UCN and Helgen administration. Ophis reset the timer again to 2204, this time the image of destroyed fleets and space stations. The end of the war is devastating. Ophis said solemnly. While the UCA and ESA suffered minimum casualties, the Helgen however is suffered the worst as their soldier didn't receive a proper training and losing a lot of their assets. What? How come they didn't train their soldiers properly? In a worlds like this they at the very least should have received training, basic military training. It is just the same as sending civilian with guns to war. Suffer roared, seemingly angered and disagree with the Helgen administration decision to go to war. Simple Suffer, they were a peaceful colony. Suffer blinked 2 times. What? Helgen administration were a peaceful colony, Ophis repeated. They were an organization dedicated to provide their people with better life. They may have weapons, but the sole purpose is to defend their home planet, not to wage war, and their military were mostly polices and volunteers. Then why declared a war with UCN? Good question. In the eyes of UCN, Helgen administrator reaped profit from their hub system from every colonies that visited Vecta, and they seems to stole many of Earth origin shipbuilders with their fortune, while in the eye of Helgen administrator they saw UCN has gone mad because they suffered economic depression and will do anything to fill their pocket. With that set in mind, the Helgens declared war against UCN to defend their people. I see. Then what happened to the Helgens? Ophis zoom out from Vecta and move the map toward Helgen. the harsh planet with ferocious storms and electrifying skylines. And set the timer with a range from 2209-2347 and multiple image coming up. None of the images are pleasant, many of the pictures are sick Helgens. After UCN and the ESA seized all of the Helgen administration's assets and everything they got including their home planet Vecta. After that, they commenced a greatest exodus in history of all mankind, as they put it, to Helgen. Forced to leave their original home, took their wealth for their own greed, unbelievable, Suffer said, and for 138 years? They managed to survive this hellhole by a sheer willpower alone? I'm impressed, Suffer complimented. They don't have willpower, Suffer, just an empty husk living their day waiting someone to save them, Regret corrected. What do you mean? Regret look at his master gesturing, may I? Ophis nod her head, sure go ahead. Thank you master. Regret moved toward the galactic map and took some pictures and move it forward. During the course of the year 2209-2230 the people of Helgen started to face many issues including health and economic issue. The health issue is already common occurrence as many of them started to getting sick due to the Helgen's harsh environment, and the economic issue reached its peak at 2230 when the need of maintenance cost for their recently upgraded factories arise, combined with continuous embargoes and larger populations caused the lack of vital supplies. This made the peoples to grow more resentful towards the ESA and their collaborators, and at the same time lose their faith on Helgen administration since they can't handle the situation as good as before. They were as good as dead. Wait, hold on. Suffer cut off. I thought Master said UCN they're having problem with. Why they grow more resentful on the ESA? 1. After the end of the war, Vecta was handed over by the UCN to the ESA to watch over Alpha Centauri activities. 2. The ESA were the one who put embargoes on Helgen and instigated an unfair trade with them. And 3. They killed the most during the war, Regret quickly answered. Damn, continue Regret. Okay now, I forgot what the exact date, but around 2347. Regret picked a picture of a man in his 50s with bald head and wearing a decorated black coat. A single titular figure named Scholar Visari, a politic ambitious man, arise by gathering the people of Helgen, giving them hope for the future. And at the same time initiated a coup by overthrowing almost defunct Helgen administration and seized control all over Helgen and proclaimed himself as the Autarch of Helgen and changed the name of the humans live in Helgen as the Helghast, Regret continued. Helghast, haunting spirit from hell, Suffer thought. And around this time Master and I enter this world to fulfill their long-lost desired home, Regret finished as he put back the picture back and closed the holographic map. I see, just one question though. What does it Suffer? Why did you and Master decided to help them? I can deduce that under the leadership of this schooler. Scholar, Regret and Ophis cut her off, correcting the younger member. Right, Scholar Visari. Under his leadership the Helghast will probably went into ultra-nationalist totalitarian militaristic empire state, since Visari is a man who looks very ambitious, not to mention vengeful and bitter person. Why, or rather what made you want to help them Master? Suffer asked. Ophis closed her eyes for a second. Because I saw myself in them. Ophis turned around facing the image of Helgen on the swirling gateway. They remind me of what I'd become over a millennia ago, vengeful, bitter, defeated. Ophis said solemnly. And look what happened to my home world just because of this 3 simple negative emotions, Ophis said sadly, and to my family. Ophis turned her gaze back to Suffer. That's why I decided to lead them back to the right way. Not because I want to avoid war with the UCN and the ESA. Hell no, those bastards deserve to be taught a lesson for their unfair trade toward the Helghast, especially at 2330-2350. Ophis exclaimed, sorry. But it's because they have misled toward the side of evil and clouded by Visari's vision of vengeance, completely disregarding their ancestors' vision of peace, and I need to correct that before it leads to the same path I took. I see, thank you for the exposition Master. For a second I thought you were supporting their ideas of war. Hey, you're welcome Suffer, can't blame you though. Visari's do looks like a depressed bad guy with bald head and frowny face. That made Ophis and her servant laughs. It was true though. A decade in Helgen made Ophis and Regret pretty close with the Autarch of Helgen, to the point where one might consider them as best friends, but damn. The Autarch of Helgen is a freaking ice cube. Never once they rarely saw him smile. Never once they saw him crack a joke even during his free time, and always put the same frown on his face. It frustrated Ophis to the point where she's almost say, "Fuck it," and proceed to pinch his cheeks so bad before scrunch it with her bare hands while screaming, "Come on, smile, goddammit." But Ophis was better than that. Ripping a page from her second mother turns into ant figure, she just decided to get along with it while throwing some jabs at the cold Autarch. "So what did you do at Helgen?" "Oh, nothing big. I only created several 3 or 5 layered massive transmutation magic circle complete with elemental glyphs fueled by regrets senjutsu here and there and deployed it," Ophis said casually. Suffer's eyes widened. "Nothing big? Nothing big? Master that 5-layered magic circle enough to cover roughly 25% of planet's surface with nothing but healthy vegetation. What you did was terraforming their toxic home planet into Third Earth. That's not something you simply considered nothing big. You must be," as Suffer ranted on. Ophis couldn't help but smile at her achievement on Helgen. The hatred of Helghast people mostly revolves around Issa and their allies, especially the UCN, for taking their original home of Vecta and let the Issa occupied it like it was their own property while the founder were shunned and oppressed by them. Honestly, Ophis didn't really mind if the Helghast decide to attack Vecta to reclaim their home. However, as told before, if they really let their hatred grow unchecked, it will cause something they will regret on the future. So that's why she decided to make Helgen their home by terraforming it into Third Earth, and made them realize their ancestor true motive behind the colonization plan. "Master, are you listening to me?" Ophis snapped back into reality and blinked at her servant. "I'm sorry, did you say something?" Regret snickered at her master response, totally ignoring his partner rants. Suffer seems to grow a tick mark at her master, realizing she ignoring her the whole time. She was so ready yell in frustration but hold it in. "It's nothing, never mind it." Ophis blinked. "Sorry for ignoring you, but I heard the first one. I see no big deal in it. Besides, I'm doing this so they can enjoy what they never felt before. I rather considered it as community service than a god giving them their blessings," Ophis explained. "Anyway, we're wasting time here. Let's end the history lesson and step into this world." As Ophis finished, both of her servants walked towards her while Ophis locked her next destination. After confirming her next destination, both Ophis and her servants were covered in bright light. Her last thought before completely gone from dimensional gap were, "I wonder how's my little princess doing all these years?" Firis City, the largest city in Helgen. This city is also the first city founded and the first civilization established by the Helgen administration before their downfall. Housing for about 12 million lives of Helghast workers and civilians alike. Most of the city consisted of rundown housing and apartments. Slums and factories were vastly stretched across the city, along with ground cars scattered all over the place and several cable cars that leads to military complex and finally to Visari's palace where the Autarch of Helgen lives. Overall, with so many people and slums that stretch across the city along with the Visari's palace, Firis is like a Washington, D.C. of America but with living condition of third world countries. But that's 10 years ago. Firis City now stood proudly with skyscrapers, landmarks, lushes of greens, seaports, and park who the Autarch dubbed as Visari's Park and the Blue Sky. Gone the rundown housing and apartments, now replaced by many first-class house complexes and apartments. This is also reducing the slums in the city to almost non-existence. The factories in this city is also changed due to the change of environment, thanks to certain traveling dragon god. The CEOs of every factories located in Firis decided to process their wastes before dumping it in order to preserve their home. Also, due to the terraforming, lands across Helgen have become very fertile, suitable for cattle grazing and agricultural industry. This led private sectors arise on Helgen with many kind of business like agriculture, farms, restaurants, clothing, and more. The authorities didn't stop the civilians to create their own business as they need more variations for their business and lighten certain company work like Thoralf Sigurd Vig. This company, not only producing trains, railways, and spaceships but also large food production and distribution. Even though they only produced MRE and protein bars, during their years of harshness this is the company that saved the Helghast from starvation. And thanks to the arising private-owned sectors, Thoralf Sigurd Vig Company passed the responsibility to them and start focusing on what they does best, shipbuilding. Though, the company still produced foods but now focused on military MRE for additional fundings. This is what Firis today. What was supposed to be a city filled with slums, now turned into an industrial metropolitan city with many variation of innovative businesses, the center of Helgen economic hub and a symbol of their military strength. Visari's palace. Dusk. Located above the hill of Pyrrhus was Visari's palace, home of the Autarch of Helgen. Outside of the balcony of the palace was a bald man wearing decorated black coat overwatching the capital city below him. This man is Scholar Visari, the man who have rebuilt his nation and shaped it into how it is today, the man who rebuilt his nation's strength on par if not better than their oppressors, and the man who have rebuilt their pride as a race that survives the harshness of exile into a prideful race with excellent economy and military strength. Down below him, Visari could see many of his people gather at Visari Square with confetti decorating the sky above the square followed by fireworks covering the sky with beautiful sparks celebrating the Helgen Day. Helgen Day was a national holiday of Helgen where the Helghast throw a festival dedicated to celebrates the end of their sufferings and the starts of the year of prosperity, something they missed for 138 years. Visari letting a small smile adorned his face. Visari couldn't help but chuckle. Imagine what my nation would have become if God didn't come to help us, he commented with a deep noble voice. It will stay as a city with many slums and surrounded by poverty. And didn't I told you I'm not a god? Not expecting any response, the Autarch turned around to see a woman with a long black hair with pointy ears wearing black coat just like him but less decorated and hugs her supple figures especially around her chest. An. Oh yeah, kinda forget about it, hee it's double D's IYKWIM. Lady Ophis? I thought you were down there enjoying the merriment? I was, until regret started sprouting dirty jokes with your officers. Oh, you have my sympathy. Nah, I'm used to it. 343 years with him, you're bound to endure his antics. Ophis shrugged him off as she walked toward the balcony standing beside the Autarch. Well, how about you? Why are you standing here overwatching the city instead? Join the festivities. Every high-ranking officers, even Redek and the generals, join into the joy down there. I would like to join, but for some reason I prefer watching my people up here rather than jumping into the liveliness. Ophis sighed at the Autarch. Still can't believe it, can you? To be honest, no I can't. I once thought to turn this planet into a militaristic totalitarian empire and reclaim our home of Vecta, but you arrived into this world a decade ago and now look what you did. Visari held his hand forward gesturing, all of this. You gave us hope, purpose and more importantly a bright future for every Helghast children, and you brought happiness to my people, something that I couldn't give. I'm still overwhelmed with the sudden changes and how quick you did this, Visari said in disbelief. Seeing the Autarch, Ophis couldn't help but giggle. Era, you don't need to fuss it over and over, Visari. A word of advice, don't think the common sense behind the power of supernatural. You'll just hurt your mind. Maybe you're right, I shouldn't think about the reason behind your mumbo-jumbo tricks. Visari, it's called magic and… Ophis blinked several times as if she realized something and turned her head to him. Did you just crack a joke? Visari formed a small smile on his face. 10 years with you, I'm bound to pick up something from you, my friend. The Autarch said while repeating certain part of Ophis' words. Oh, you just being hilarious, Ophis scoffed. Well, I tried my best. Both the dragon god and the Autarch chuckled. It was nice to spend time like this, chatting like this, making bond with each other. Especially for the dragon god. It's really good spending time like this with her precious one. Why would she craved for cold and lonely silence while there's something so much better like the warmth of friendship and love? Back then, Ophis thought it was her duty to float around doing nothing while surrounded by said power in her home, thus isolating herself from the rest of the world and get rid such trivial thoughts like emotions. But again, after she meet her family, she realized that nothing good can come from the hollows of nothingness. She felt something strange during her first family activity filling her heart but dismissed it. The feelings, however, slowly but surely grows stronger every time they spend time together, as if filling the nothingness in her heart with something. But Ophis dismissed again, but determined to find the true meaning of this feelings. Too bad she found it too late. Visari, as much as I like to stay here settling on Helgen, I'm afraid I can't stay here any longer. I'm going to leave Helgen tomorrow at noon. Visari was in deep surprise when Ophis voiced her speech. What? Why? I thought you said that Helgen is like your second home? What's with the sudden change of mind? It is, Visari, it is, but… Ophis closed her eyes. She knew he was going to say that after all she was the one that gave them a new home and the people of Helghast. Even Visari praised her like she's a god. Well, she is, but after the apocalypse she didn't consider herself befitting of a god. Ophis opened her eyes. God doesn't make sins. Visari, Ophis started. I made a lot of sins. The Autarch surprised by Ophis' confession. Helping your people is just small thing I obliged to do while there's something bigger out there waiting for my help or to simply travel to reflect my past mistakes. You may go, Visari said. So that's why I asked you to. Wait, you let me go? Easily like that? No pleading, reasons, or speeches. Ophis spoke completely baffled by Visari's statement. The Autarch sighed. Ophis, did you ever heard the word, eyes is the window of your soul? Yes, I heard that quite often. When you explained your reasons, I saw the look on your eyes. I can't describe it, but that was the eyes of someone who had to pay a high and unnecessary prices for the something he or she did and now full of regret and sorrow. I don't know what you did that put so much burden for you, and I believe you don't want to talk about it, yes? Visari received a nod from her. So that's why I don't want to hold you or forced you to stay. If anything, I should let you go, Visari said with a noble voice. Ophis put a weak smile on her face. Era? Am I really easy to read now? But thank you, Visari. I swear that I will visit this world someday in the future, and I would like to see how Helgen going to be. You're welcome, my friend. After what you did to Helgen, we, Helghast people, will always welcome you to our home. The Autarch replied. But can I ask a request? What is it? Come with me to the festival and allow me to announce to my people about your departure. Many of them considered you as an important figure in Helgen Empire. If you leave without noticing us, there will be a lot of commotion knowing their savior knowing is gone without trace, requested the Autarch. Oh, of course, it would be improper for me if I just leave you like that. I would never do that. Just let me grab my bottle of Constantine wine and I'll join you. Several minutes later, both the Dragon God and the Autarch of Helgen joined their people in the merriment. 12 years later, 2369, present day. What in the fucking hell is going on? To say Ophis is shocked would be an understatement of millennia. Ophis was expecting the marvelous city of Firis like the one she saw 12 years ago, with busy traffic of trains and cars, skyscrapers, blue skies, etc. Not Firis with dusty skies, destroyed buildings, petricite-based lifeforms scouring the ruins, petricite mists covering both the ruins and skies like aurora. Petricite is a powerful element exclusive to Helgen only. This element is also the main power source for any simple electrical appliances to space cruiser fuel of Helgen. In 2349, Ophis and Regret managed to contain petricite hazard place, turning said element to be less dangerous and eco-friendly. But Ophis Pav, aren't petricite supposed to blue in nature, not green? I thought. When I looked through the gateway, I thought the Helghast found their own way to terraforming the rest of this planet. When I terraformed this planet, I didn't completely converted all the planet's surface. I only terraformed roughly 85% of the planet's surfaces, while the rest is nothing more than a hazardous zone designed to contain the petricite. So when I saw the green mist covering certain part of Helgen, I thought it was the Helghast doing in terraforming. That's why I thought they found a way to continue where I left off. It seems I was wrong. I know a lot about petricite and its composition, but this, clearly something new. I knew for a fact that petricite color is blue and they act like Tesla reactor, but 10 times more effective and more efficient, unlike their Tesla counterpart. But this is Regret. Suffer, scout the area, search for any survivors, help them any way you can and give them protection from this green petricite. I've got a bad vibe coming from this substances. Yes, master, complying my order. Both of my servants use their blink ability, vanishing from my sight. I look around the ruins and spot a pool of this green substances. I admit I'm a bit interested on how petricite turns out like this, but this is not the time for me to researching this new type of petricite. I walk toward the pool before I kneel beside it and proceed to uncover my right leather glove and cover my right hand with bluish black aura before I dip my hand in it. I was right, this is petricite, but what about the other composition? As I put more energy into my hand, I'm shocked by the revelation. No, it can't be. I noticed two substances inside this new petricite. It's faint, but I know what's kind of chemical substance merged with it. Who had the audacity to? As I channel more energy into my hand, it is clear what kind of substances it is. Plutonium-239 and uranium-235. Who the fuck dared to drop a thermonuclear bomb on my beloved Firis? With regret. As soon as Master ordered us, we quickly blinked ourselves away in order to search for any survivor from this Holocaust. I went to a sector known as Visari Square, or what's left of it. Jumping and blinking from one place to another, I couldn't help to wonder. What could have caused this? A war, no doubt. I bet those fools inside ISA and UCN declared war, or the Helgen Empire started a war. No. I shook my head as I stopped myself in front of a restaurant. Unlike many buildings, this one is still intact. Curious, I enter the building and quickly greeted by the sight of something that made my disgust to human arise. Laying in front of me is a pile of dead bodies of Helghast civilians and 2 soldiers ranging from adults to children who looked no older than 8 years old. I can tell the difference easily with human by their bald heads and ACUs. The Helghast aren't the one behind this. I decided to get some pictures of this place until my feet stumble upon something. By something I mean a dead body of a soldier with different design ACU. I kneel in front of it and found something that made my hatred for humanity doubled. With suffer. When I arrived into this world, I was expecting the same thing like my master expected, but instead we were greeted by something that coming out from World War II aftermath movies, but with more radiation from unknown substance. Right now I'm in the middle of a wide field with craters and destroyed war machines. Damn, they knew there's no good coming out from wars, so why they were bothered doing it? Is it because of the natural resources crisis? Is it because it's man nature to show who is the better fighter? Or is it because of jealousy? Sometimes war can be started by something so trivial like insults. During the 8 years I followed my master, I once saw a tribe fall to another tribe in a bloody civil war. The cause? One of the fallen tribe villager insult the other tribe's leader. How foolish. But I've never saw a war as destructive as this. I'm familiar with the loss of kingdom, territorial conflict, corporate wars, but this. I lost words to describe it. I never like wars, never. But should a war happen, it'd better be with a good reason, not some stupid reason. Oh, who am I kidding? There's no war started with a good reason, and we're talking about humans who love to fight over something. What do you expect? World peace? For centuries humans always love fighting. Either it's in medieval time crusade to future galactic war like this, accompanied with dark reasons behind it. One nation, tribe, planet suffer from the horror of the war while the other reap the fortune of it. Heck, I once went into a world where war is an economic activities. Economic activities. How many lives is lost for a simple supply like food, water, and clothes? Ironically, said supplies were used to supply either side troops so they can fight again and again and again. They disgust me to no end, which made me glad and grateful I'm no longer human. Hours later, Ophis Pav. To be honest, I'm scared. I'm scared of my precious people who lives here. I've been looking around Firis only to discover that many important building where my friends live or work has been destroyed. All of them. Visari's Palace, Redek Academy, Visari Corporation, Stahl Arms. Heck, I even took a flight to Constantine City only to find out the city suffer the same fate as Firis. All of them reduced to rubble, and despite my servants and my own efforts we found no survivors, only dead bodies brought by regret. Right now I'm observing my servants lining up several dead bodies in the middle of a clearing in Corinth Highway. Is this all of them? I asked Regret as he finished lining up the corpses. Yes, master, I noticed there's something bothering him as I can hear his anger in his voice. Is there something bothering you, Regret? Nothing, master, nothing, he said, but judging how he replied my question and looked away from me only make my suspicion grew bigger. Regret, I know there's something bothering you, can share it with me and discuss it. He only stand there in silent before answering, sorry master, but I want to keep it for myself this time, he said with a sigh. I'll discuss it with you when the time is right. Now I'm 100% sure there's something bothering him. Fine then, but right now I'll drop it as I focus myself on the dead bodies. Who could have done this? In the event of a war, aren't Stockholm Treaty prohibited anyone to kill innocent civilians? I shook my head and sigh. Alright then, I guess I'm going to seal the DBs before I cut myself off as I'm picking some sound nearby, something like rapid footsteps, like running soldiers. Master, you noticed it? Yes, suffer, I do. What would like us to do, master? Asked Regret. From what I've heard it seems they already spotted us. We'll play along. As soon as I said that, 24 men with glowing red eyes from their mask while wearing hazmat suits come into view, converging on our location armed with their STA-52 bullpup assault rifles, STA-11 SMG and STA-3 Stova LMG. They obviously spotted us as we're standing in the middle of a ruined Corinth highway with many dead bodies of the fallen Helghast. Freeze, one of them said with a gruff muffled voice. put your hands in the air. 12 of them quickly surround us, pointing their weapons at us while the other guard the perimeter. I said put your hands in the air. The same soldier shouted. It seems he's the leader of this group. I comply at his order as I gesture my servants to do the same. On the ground now, again I comply his order, seeing no reason to fight them. Bravo 2 and 3 secure the masked male, 4 and 5 secure the hooded one. I keep my calm facade as his men restrain and forced us to kneel on the ground while keep pointing their weapon at us. Then I see the leader of this group pull something from his bag. A hollow scanner. I see, they knew who I am, they just want to make sure they found the right guy or woman. I keep my face straight as hold the scanner right in front of my face. I can hear some beeping as he starts scanning my face looking for matching identity in their database. The beeping stop. It seems the scan is complete. As he move away from me I can tell that he somewhat felt relief judging from how he loosened his grip on his rifle. Thank the grace, men, we found the VIP. Lower your weapons and release them. The soldiers that surround us lower their weapon and also look relief. Sorry for the inconvenient, Lady Hyodo Gremory. We're just been through war and need to be cautious all the time, he said with a bow. As the soldiers release their restraint on my servants and the soldiers help us to get up. How gentle. It's all right, soldier, and please call me Ophis and thank you. I wave my hand trying to ask his name. Second Lieutenant Alvis Fitzgerald at your service, milady, he introduced. Right, thank you, Lieutenant Fitzgerald. It's our pleasure, milady. Now, would you please follow us? We were instructed by our acting leader to bring you and your companions to the underground shelter, the lieutenant requested. Wait, how do you know I'm arrived at this place? I'm sorry, milady, I do not know. All of your question will be answered by our acting leader later. Our mission to get you to the shelter. Who is the acting leader? Acting leader usually elect if the actual leader is either absent, sick or... No, it can't be. No, don't you dare think about it, Ophis. Be optimist. Just give me a few minutes and I'm ready, I tell the leader. I move toward the lines of the dead bodies. I gather my magic in my fingertips and start to draw a small magic circle with it. Third person POV. Many of the Helghast soldiers curious at whatever Ophis is doing. She seems to gently drawing something in the air with her finger hole, leaving blue trails. Said trail seems to shaped into circle with unknown letters. Lieutenant, one of the Helghast soldier whispered, what is she doing? I don't know, Sergeant, this is a first for me too, the lieutenant whispered back. Their chattering were cut off short as the magic circle drew by Ophis suddenly glow brightly before flying into the middle of the lined-up dead bodies and latch itself on the ground. The soldiers noticed Ophis and the masked figure's companion back away. You might want to back away to soldier, the hooded female servant told the Helghast soldiers. Seeing no ill intent from the masked servant, the soldier do as told and back away and took position behind Ophis. Then they see something that amazed all of them. The circle suddenly expand itself several times its original size and start to glow brightly, so bright that made the Helghasts to cover their eyes. When glow started to fade, everyone in the vicinity can see the magic circle now covered the line-up dead bodies. Milady, what are you? The lieutenant's words died in his mouth as he and his forces saw the event transpired in front of them. The dead bodies were covered with a blue aura before slowly dissolve into particles of light moving toward the center of the magic circle, forming an orb of blue light. When all of the light gather at the orb, the circle begin to spin it faster and faster before shrinking toward the orb. The orb then started to glow brightly once more and morph into a smaller rectangular form. As Ophis, her servants, and the Helghast watches the light dies down, the Helghast was left speechless from the in front of them. The lined-up dead bodies were gone, replaced by a floating deck card-sized black card with a Reaper wielding a scythe and a stylized, unrest, word written below the Reaper. Ophis walked forward to grab the card with her hand and hold it gently while staring at the card sadly. Don't worry, children of Helgen, until I found a suitable place for bury your bodies. You will be safe inside this card, she thought as she stretched her hand and let card float before dissolve into particle of light. Ophis faced back to her servant and the lined-up Helghast. While her servant looks normal, she can tell that many of the Helghast are either baffled or shocked with the event just transpired in front of them. Milady, the lieutenant tried to speak up but stopped by a raised index finger courtesy of Ophis. Before you ask, no, I didn't do anything to desecrate your fellow countrymen. I only seal them inside a stasis dimension. I will unseal them until I find a suitable place to bury the bodies. Ophis said with a stern voice. Now would you kindly direct me to your shelter, Lieutenant Fitzgerald? Yeah, please come with us, milady. Wasting no time, Ophis, her servants, and the Helghast walk away from the ruins of Corinth Highway and proceed for their next destination. An hour later, the shelter, somewhere in the outskirts of Firis. Ophis Pav. The trip to the shelter was uneventful save from one female Helghast soldier asking for my autograph. Really? You're on duty, for goodness sake. You can't just rush to me and asking for autograph ignoring your duty. And where did you get that paper and pen when you're practically wearing hazmat suit? Putting that matter aside, right now we're just disembarked from Helghast tracked APC. It was strange though why they would use this obsolete APC? If I remember correctly, the Helghast developed a new, versatile, and faster hover APCs to replace the tracked APCs, so why they didn't use it? Please follow me to sanitation room, milady, and that includes your servants, the lieutenant requested. We need to make sure you're clear from petricite radiation. We're fine, Lieutenant, we shield ourselves from the radiation. It's true though, the moment we're about to enter this world, me and my servants already detected radioactive readings and issued my servants to cover themselves with magic barrier, preventing themselves from getting exposé from the radioactive exposure from the irradiated petricite. Yes, irradiated petricite. I asked about the green substance to the soldiers inside the APCs. They quickly give me the answer. It turns out the petricite stored beneath the city of Firis were exposed to the nuclear bomb, causing a chemical reaction from the petricite and changed them into this new type of petricite. I'm sorry, milady, it's the standard protocol. Even if you claim you're being protected by your magic, we can't risk it. Please understand this, the lieutenant rebutted. I sighed. I usually do something like Irina Nay-san would do, mainly complaining about why they won't believe me, but the situation didn't let me, so I just play along with the rules. Alright then, lead the way. Ophis Pav. How come you didn't get poisoned? You were strolling around the ruins of Firis, which is considered as an area with the highest level of radiation. How can you be fine? Asked the lieutenant in disbelief, he and his team now wearing standard Helghast assault infantry ACU. We are now walking toward the office of the current acting leader. With me and my servants were escorted by the lieutenant and 6 of the soldier through the underground shelter corridor. I told you, Lieutenant, I and my servant covered ourselves with magic barrier. It prevents us from getting exposed from radiation. Unlike you most likely think, the magic barrier we deployed is just like a suit, and I mean really like a suit. It envelops our bodies from head to toes along with our clothes, as opposed to normal spherical magic or magic circle barrier, hence why we didn't get caught by the radiation. But still, how you do that? I know you transformed Helgen to Third Earth, which is a great feat, but I still can't believe how you didn't covered. I sighed at the lieutenant rambling before I cut him off. Lieutenant Fitzgerald. I spoke with a stern voice. At the same time I stopped walking while rubbing my head. The other soldier, my servants, also stopped themselves while the lieutenant seems to tensed. May I remind you that you're now on duty to escort me to your leader? While I don't mind a company from my beloved people of Helgen, I expect some discipline from you to keep some talk in line. Is that clear? I reminded the lieutenant. I know this is a bit cold, but this magic talk is not really related to his mission. I can tell he's a bit down from his body language. I'm sorry, milady. He slumped down. It won't happen again, I promise. I do not dislike your attitude, Lieutenant. Like I said, I don't mind a company from my beloved Helgen citizens, and that includes soldier of Helgen. I'm just reminding you that not everyone will like an attitude like that, especially during the mission. Understand? I continued at the lieutenant being seen, which he replied with a nod. I noticed something from him. Unlike many high-ranking Helghast officer I've met, who always stood strong with their opinion even when they're wrong and hard-headed, the one in front of me is rather, I don't know, meek? Then something crossed in my mind. You're new in military, aren't you? Those words alone already show what he is, as his shoulders slumped down again. Yes, I just graduate from Redec Academy Officer School 7 weeks ago. This is actually my first mission. Great. I just criticized a green officer for any possibility he can be a civilian not familiar with military life, trying to serve his country, or an officer who is atop of his class always be praised, never once get criticized. It's most likely the latter, seeing he has a good attitude on the field. Added the fact that I used magic to terraform their home. It's not impossible for many people of Helgen to see me like I'm some sort of god, and me scolding him is like a god delivering a divine punishment, and berate himself for becoming unworthy in my eyes. Then he did something that made the surrounding Helghast, including me and servants, shell-shocked. He turned around, grovel on my feet. "Milady, please, I'm sorry if I bothered you in such way, please forgive this insolent lowlife." See what I mean? I rub my face in exasperation and sigh at the groveling lieutenant. See, this is one of the many reasons why I don't like being seen or called as a god. Rise, Alvis Fitzgerald, I said as I kneel in front him as he lifted himself facing his mask to my face. You didn't do anything wrong. I just remind you about your mission, okay? I tried to tell him with a soft tone. I'm not angry nor disappointed at you, is that understand? You're not unworthy in my eyes. Back in the ruins you showed a good leadership worthy of my attention. Again I tried to speak with soft tone, but this time I tried to add a more godlike speech which raised his spirit back, and I don't know what gotten into me, but I decided to grab his masked face and kiss his helmet, which again raised his spirit 2 folds. Now would you please escort me to your leader and to finish your mission? I asked with a smile as both me and the young officer stand up. Yes, thank you, milady. Now please follow me, he answered with full of spirit and started leading the team again. What was that? I just felt something strange sensation coming from him. Well, I can find out later now. I'm just glad that was over. I just hope this godhood thing will not be a common occurrence. I just tempt fate, didn't I? Hey, look who's arrived down there. I can't believe it. Is it really her? She's here. Our savior is here. 10 years. 10 years. Our prayers were answered. Well, crap. Fate, whatever form you may take, either a 3 siblings, a machine, cell phones, etc. I will find you and I will crush you with my bare hands, get you wrecked so bad till your creator forces to create another fate. I don't dislike being called a god, really. But it's bothering me to no end every time they call me as if I'm the creator of this universe. I am a god, but after failing certain tasks from my own world I doubt myself worthy to take that title anymore. Right now, I'm just a traveling lonely dragon seeking redemption. Sigh. I sighed again for umpteenth time today. Right now we are navigating through the underground complex while being watched by bystanders. Many of them were civilians, along with several military personnel guarding the gate and patrolling along the catwalk above us. The complex were completely filled with civilians and military personnel alike, taking refuge from the wasteland above them. Many of them look sick and kinda look malnourished. Milady, I heard someone rushing toward me. I stop walking and look to my right and see a bald woman trying to reach me, but were stopped by 2 of my escort. Let me go. I need to speak with her. Be quiet, woman. We have another pressing matter right now. I know you're in pain, we all do. But please understand, our lady need to consult with the leader right now, be patient. I watched the woman as she struggled to break free from my escort trying to reach me. Milady, I know it's hard, but let's move before it getting worse, the lieutenant pled me. Master, just like the lieutenant said, we need to move before more civilians surrounding us, Suffer told me. I only nod in response while keeping my face down. Let's get going then. We started to move again while 2 of the escorts separate themselves from the group holding the woman down. Several minutes later, here we are, milady, the lieutenant gestured at the sliding door in front of us. Our leader is waiting inside. Thank you, Lieutenant Fitzgerald, and good job for your first assignment. I thanked him with a smile. Thanks milady, I'm sorry about earlier, but I cut him off. No problem, like I said before, I'm not angry with you. It was also your first assignment, so take notes of what mistakes you have made and ensure you didn't repeat that in the future, got it? Thank you, milady. Now if would excuse me, I still had my job to do, he said. I bet that under his intimidating gas mask he's smiling gratefully. You're welcome. Sending a bow to me, he and his subordinate walk away, leaving me and my servants in front of the room. Well, let's find out what's going on. The door in front of us slid open, allowing my group to enter the leader's room. The room is not very decorative, only steel-like wall, 4 bookshelf with various books arranged neatly at the far end of the wall, and in the middle of the room are a single desk table with a lamp and a holographic computer, and behind the desk is a man with white-haired and thin body wearing a suit. Any gloves, he cover his face with both of his hands. Go away, I had enough. Complain report right now, Sergeant, he said while keeping both of his hands on his face. Wow. Looks like whatever happened here caused him to enter a depressed state. I thought you sent your men to bring me to talk to you. Not expecting a feminine response, he lifted his face, revealing his wrinkles to us. He also looks like in his 60s. His eyes widened and mouth agape when he saw my face. Not to dump me immediately after I arrived, Jorhan, I said with smirk. This man is also one of many friends I made in Helgen. Jorhan Brimif Stahl, son of Cage Stahl, the founder of Stahl Arms, a man who responsible for supplying Helgen army with weapons. He raised from his chair in a hurry and walked to me in a hurry before stop in front of me and proceed to inspect me from head to toe. Ophis, is this really you? I'm not dreaming, right? In the flesh, Stahl. You're back, he exclaimed. To my surprise, he hugged me and, is he crying? You're really back. You don't know how this foolish war has taken its toll on me. I blinked before I returned the hug and pat his back. There. I'm here, my friend. Take your time before you talk, okay? I didn't get any vocal response from him, but a nod on my neck is the answer I need. The same strange sensation, appearing again? Ophis Pav. Sorry about the accommodation, we've stripped out of luxury 6 weeks ago and I got nothing to serve you other than mineral water. He said as put down 4 small bottles of mineral water on his table. It's no problem, Jorhan, I replied. I took 3 bottles and distributed to my servants, which they take it. I'm not into luxury anyway. I see, so I take it you have a lot of questions, right? Yes, first, how do you know I'm coming? And the second is, what the hell is going on? I know you just got through a war as your lieutenant told me, but I want to know more, especially what caused the appearance of new petricite sub-element and why it had radioactive chemical components. I asked him, leaving my first shocking conclusion about the nuclear bomb. I need to hear it from him. For the first question, it's not that hard. I mean, before you arrived on Helgen over 2 decades ago, we detected strange space-time continuum disturbance on our radar. The same can be found when you leave Helgen to continue your journey, Jorhan explained. So when the same disturbance occurred, I quickly ordered my men to fetch you. I see, what about the rest? I asked. This will be a long story. He take a deep breath before you start talking. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. 6 months ago, under the order of UCN, Issa dropped a nuke on top of Firis in order to cut down our morale. I narrowed my eyes at his blunt statement. You're not making this up, aren't you? Why would they do that? I know that UCN is just an organization filled with greedy fat slobs and their Issa lapdog, but they won't do something stupid like declaring a war, not to mention ordered a nuclear strike. They rather sit back and relax, with money keep flowing into their pocket. I know this for a fact. Ever since I'm in Helgen 20 years ago, those fat slobs rather live peacefully in warm bed while not giving any shit about my suffering people. He grimaced from my questioning. Look, I may be not one of your favorite person, Ophis, but I would never hurt or lie you. He rebutted, since you are the one that ensure my father health to see me taking his throne of our company and so on. I never felt so grateful in my life, and I wish to repay you for what you have done, not spit at your help. He reasoned with me. He's not lying, master. His eyes clearly shows it. My hooded servant aided his argument. It's not like I can't do it myself, but I give this task to my servants to detect any kind of lies coming from spokesperson should we need to negotiate something. I see, sorry Jorhan, war is not my thing. So, what caused this war? If I were to quote those fools at the UCN, they want retribution for years of exploitation. How they concluded this? Simple. Back in 2357, a week after you left, our scientist managed to create an energy purifier. These purifier convert the petricite into its purest form, increased the effectiveness and the efficiency of petricite by triple. He smiled, reminiscing. With the discovery of this new type of petricite, we finally managed to find not only a more suitable fuel for our warp drive coil, we also applied it for daily need. Due to the magnanimous amount of petricite and completion of warp drive, we enacted our own colonialization plan and started to colonize our moon and nearby planets and open a trade with ICSA. It was fruitful and our people were prospering even more. ICSA? Independent Colonial Strategic Alliance? Isn't that unaligned version of ISA created to support independent colonies? Then I saw him tapping the screen on his holographic computer, revealing 4 planets with Helghast triad spread on certain part of the planet. This is the planets that we colonized. Either it's still barren or already colonized by several members of ICSA, and with our arrival as per trade agreement, we share them our purified petricite, and thanks to it we have a fruitful relationship between the ICSA and the Helgen Empire. However, our fruitful relationship with the member of ICSA attract more trade agreement than we can take and made us repeating what our ancestor does in the past, overflowing with wealth. While it improved further our living condition, it also attract unwanted attention from ISA and UCN. They took notice of our new type of petricite and tried to took part in the trade, but giving us a lot of unfair agreement. The talk failed as the Autarch declined the agreement, Stahl said with venom in his voice. They already embargoed the Helghast and gave them unfair trade agreement, and when Helghast found new type of petricite, they took part with the same old agreement. I'm starting to sense a pattern here. Jorhan tapped his computer again, now showing the images of Autarch in news headline and an image of a dead, Issa's shadow marshal? I asked. Yes, he answered, not taking in a good way on our refusal. They sent a team of shadow marshals tried to steal our purified petricite and the blueprint of the purifier. Keyword. Tried. Colonel Redek and Kobar found out about this and killed all of them and retrieved an order from Issa Command which we used to threaten them with war for this dreadful act. Despite their denial, the order which were supposed to be destroyed before the mission start were retrieved from the dead operative complete with the signature of Issa current leader. Putting them into a bad position added the fact that the act were broadcasted through UCBN, he continued. Not in the position to argue, the Issa decided to answer to our demand. Our demand were simple. Stay away from our business and we're good. The Issa and UCN reluctantly agreed to our term. Again, Jorhan tapped his computer again and the images changed once again. 2 years later, however, our economy reached its peak just like our ancestor did in the past, and the other colonies seems prefer doing business with us rather than the Issa or UCN. Even some of them went so far declaring they're part of the empire. In this age we reap the fortune from the fruitful trade with other colonies, again like our ancestor, he said while smiling, but that smile quickly replaced with a frown. UCN suffered economic crisis once more, since some of the important colonies liberated themselves from UCN control. The UCN started to lose their money factories. Many of the important corporations like shipbuilder, energy, etc. cut their contract with them and went to Helgen. They're getting desperate, again, Regret commented. I see Jorhan scowled as the images change again. Not wanting to lose more than they can take, the UCN demanded us to return the companies and colonies that defected to us. We proposed a talk with the UCN along with the colonies and the companies who defected to settle this matter peacefully. Let me guess, the talk failed, again, Suffer commented. Well, what do you expected? Successful talk with us must pay 65% taxes or we defend the way it is? Johan hissed. Well, who want to pay 65% taxes? Not even I want to pay that much to greed men like them. I would rather completely decline their demands and defend what rightfully belongs to me. 2 days after the talk, the UCN declared war on us. The UCN declared war on US, he repeated, stressing on each word. Like I said earlier, the UCN claiming the war is for retribution for years of exploitation. They accused to planned this for over 100 years back when our ancestors arrived on the wasteland of Helgen and gathering the people before we strike, claiming our original home of Vecta. And the war begin, Suffer muttered. We knew this is inevitable, so right after the declaration we quickly armed our military for any attack from the UCN, ISA, and we forced to cut our ties with ICSA and other corporation. I saw him sigh before continuing. The images changes again to a pictures of space cruisers trading missile barrage at each other with several destroyed cruisers, Issa, UCN and Helgen Empire alike. Like any war, this one was also devastating. We called it the Second Extrasolar War or so due to the fact UCN, Issa, Helgen and other colonies that pledged themselves to either faction, also involved in this war. I saw him gulping some of his water before continuing. Sorry, I'm thirsty. It's all right, I kindly replied. Anyway, the war lasted for 10 years, with either side took heavy casualties. The war was in a state of stalemate for 8 years since none of either side can push their forces forward. Cruisers from Helgen and UCN, Issa destroyed alike. Our cruiser outfitted with warp coil and arc cannon can perform a hit-and-run tactics almost perfectly and at the same time dishing out a Zeus-like attack, while UCN and Issa cruisers were built like a fortress, artillery pieces capable for taking heavy punishment and long-range assault. His face now sporting a small smile, but despite the stalemate state, we were winning this war. Every encounter with the UCN, Issa always ends up with them suffering the most while we suffered the least. All thanks to hidden tactics, the warp coil, and the arc cannons, that and the fact my latest designed cruiser approved by the Autarch has been a great aid for the military. You must be very happy, Mr. Stahl, Suffer praised. Well, there's nothing made an inventor proud except to see her invention approved and used by many people. He chuckled, my cruiser design are capable to carry and launch a smaller craft called Strike Fighter, an exo-atmospheric fighter designed to perform dogfight or bombing. These fighter also responsible for harassing and destroying some of their cruisers, which is lacking these kind of spacecraft. And now his smile morphed into a frown, but again, that made the UCN, ESA frustrated over the casualties of their forces, and seeing that we managed to defeated 2/3 of their forces, they started to do something that anyone, including Visari, never expected. Nuke, I heard regret growl behind me. I can tell that he's angry by his voice alone. Yes, during the 9th and 10th year of so they started bombing our colonies and eventually Helgen itself with it. His voice is hoarse and putting both of his palms on his face. How could they allow this to happen? They are the one who created the Stockholm Treaty and Regret tried to ask only to be answered with a raging stall slamming his table. Don't talk to me about those fucking treaty. He roared at us, his face now show a pure anger. Those fucker back on Earth revoked those treaties so they can allow themselves to discriminately bomb our civilizations with nukes and giving them freedom to execute any innocent Helghast civillians. What? And most of our casualties is on the civilian side. 1 billions. 1 fucking billions lives lost. What? And you know what, Mr. Regret? They once agreed for a peace treaty because said they tired for this unnecessary bloodshed. At first we agreed since we also lose many of our forces during the course of so. The Autarch, Senates, Admiral Orlok, General Metrak, Colonel Kobar, Colonel Redek, and I attended that event with our own fleets only to find out that was a setup to kill us all. They ambushed us with a fleet that tripled the size of our fleet and start firing at us with missiles and laser cannons. He roared again. What? Is this for real? I tried to suppress my shock at the new ordeal. Are human authorities in this world has stooped so low just because of simple resources? I can feel anger filling my body but I hold it. Jorhan breathed heavily as he calmed himself. When he calm enough he continue himself. We managed to escape though, he said as calms down. That's a good thing, I thought, but I know that I shouldn't concluded too fast. But not with heavy losses, there we go. Heavy losses, great, just all I need to make my day miserable. We lost half of our ships including, he paused trying to gather his resolve to tell me, Cruiser New Order, the Senate's ships and Cruiser Hope. Metric's ship and his right-hand man Kobar. No, I can see what their plan was. They planned to lure all the Helghast leaders in one place so they can kill them to cut down Helghast people morale or better yet, cripple Helghast fighting capability. And then there were Metrak and Kobar. Those two, despite being the most controversial military officers, they actually two of my students who willing to change their view on the military and held my name with high regard. Heck. Kobar praised me like Irina Nay-san praying to God minus the strange gesture she always make. I can feel the anger is coming back but I hold it again. The duo is like Motohama and Matsuda Tusan's partner in crime but with military discipline freak instead of certain topic. Gathering my thought back, I focused back on Jorhan. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I just hope God or whoever will forgive them. If God want to show us mercy, he hoped. I don't know or want to know about that. In a world like this religions is almost non-existent while some of them still celebrating religious event like Christmas in Vecta. But I never saw any of them pray on the church. It's like said religious event is just yearly holiday event. Maybe they lost hope in God after the World War III. So what happened next? Jorhan tapped his computer again revealing a picture of a nuke explode above Firis. Now I can feel the anger start forming on my face. We fight strong and hard but eventually we start losing, badly. This picture is some of our failure in defending Firis and among other things. He ran his hand through his hair. And after that they send their forces to capture Visari but the result is unexpected. I raised an eyebrow at that. Unexpected? He grabbed a holographic file and looked hesitant. He looked at my face, then at the file. He looked at my face and the file. Before I show you, please don't do anything rash. He pleaded before pull out the file and extend it with his finger and tap it opening the file revealing. No. This can't be happening. I can't control my anger anymore. In front of me is a dead picture of Visari laying down lifelessly at the center of his sanctum just above the Helghast Triad logo. It's happening, and there's nothing we can do about it. What about Redek that we're supposed to protect him? Jorhan hesitant again but he pulled another picture revealing Redek in his ACU lay dead with gut filled with bullet and a bullet to the head. I look in disbelief at the photo of a dead Redek in front me. How could this happen? He didn't answer, instead he touched the picture and it start playing it. Oh, it's a video footage. Sorry, no audio, we didn't installed audio recorder on it, Stahl explained, but I'm too focused finding out who's the lucky asshole killing Redek. The footage show how Redek inside Visari's palace hall, coordinating his forces against 2 soldiers. I patiently watch as Redek forces were slowly decreasing as the 2 soldiers broke through Redek's platoon. How come he's losing? And how come they got overpowered by 2 soldiers with an assault rifle and a machine gun while they have a better weapons? I watch how Redek got shot repeatedly by a soldier with the spike hairstyle and fell. He's still alive though. He pull out his sidearm and aim at the soldiers, but before he can do anything, the other soldier with a clean-shaved cut kick his weapon to the side and proceed to hammering him with his MG stock before pulling out his own sidearm and unload a bullet to his head and proceed to spit on his mask. The video stopped when the 2 soldiers leave him lay on the ground dead. How could you do that, motherfucker? I thought with growled. What happened to Visari? Stahl comply my demand. He start to play the video. The CCTV on the sanctum is equipped with audio recording so you can hear their conversation. Save your comment, Jorhan. I need to know what happened to him, so start playing the damn footage. I ordered him, to which he complied without question. Third POV. We could see Visari, the Autarch of Helgen Empire, putting his hands behind him while he's watching the devastated Fyrus through the sanctum's window. Where have they go wrong? Why is this happening? Why the freedom they just got back 12 years must be ends up with another war? Another foolish war started by the greed of the people of the earth and Vecta. Why they must be the ones suffered the heavy backlashes for defending something that rightfully belonged to them. Visari was sad that the city that built with sweat and blood reduces to rubbles in a minute by the Issa. He vowed to his people that he will repel the Issa invasion and the city will stand tall as the battle rages on. But he failed them. He failed to fulfill his promise to his people, and now he's here forced to watch the catastrophe in the form of thick mushroom cloud explosion down below the city. Scholar Visari. He heard a voice behind him. It seems Redek has fallen too. Scholar Visari. I'm placing you under arrest under Article 27. And who are you, soldier? The Autarch spoke with a booming noble voice. His captor kindly reply. Sevchenko, Sergeant First Class. Visari turns around toward his captors. He could see 2 Issa soldiers pointing their weapons at him. One soldier is wielding M82 assault rifle. His notable figure was the spike hairstyle. While the other is a strong-built soldier with shaved cut wielding M224 LMG. A sergeant? They sent a sergeant to take Visari? Are your commanders all so afraid? The Autarch mocked. War's over, Visari, you lost. Judging from his voice, Visari knows this, the one who named Sevchenko. Really, sergeant, and who won? The greedy, hypocritical cowards who commanded you and your comrades here to die in a foolish you started? He mocked again as he walked past the 2 soldiers while keeping their guns ready. The Helghast have lost nothing. We fight for who we are, and we fight to protect our new way of life and new home away from your superiors' greed. We wear our wounds like a badge of honor. The Helgen is ours, and we will die before let it fall to plunderers. He stopped in front of a painting engraved on the wall. That is why your leaders dare not making martyrs of me. The Autarch turned around again, walked straight towards his captor. Your fleet's burned, your friends butchered, and you become a hero for saving my life? Does that sound like a victory to you, Sergeant Sevchenko? The Autarch mocked again. Son of a bitch. The soldier with LMG cursed, ready to hammering the Autarch, but stopped by his friend. Good men have died, and I'll see you rot in hell for it. You'll pay for you've done. The Autarch turned around once more, presenting the paintings on the wall. For giving my people pride, purpose? We have built this great nation from nothing, and the God graces us with her presence and allowed us to live in this third earth. HMPH, the soldier with LMG scoffed. You're delusional son of a bitch. God would never side with freaks like you. And how do you think we've transformed our beloved Helgen? Terraformers? Do you ever wonder why our report about changes on Helgen is always filled with God words? And did you really think God would side with an organization who justified nuclear bombing that killed thousands of good men? They have family that waiting for them to go home, and you wipe them out like cockroaches, yet you called that as a legitimate strategy. The Autarch retorted heatedly while keeping his noble composure. They didn't or can't answer the Autarch question because all of that were true. The Autarch then walked closer to his captor. Take me and Helgen will dissolve into chaos. The Issa war machines powerless against the sheer will of my people. We will choke the streets with our dead before we surrender. Your pathetic master will beg me to return order. Visari come face to face with Sevchenko. You have not won. You will never. Rat-a-tat-tat. As soon as he shouted, the soldier with machine gun unloaded some of his bullet to the Autarch's gut. Guh? Rico. No. The Autarch fall to the ground just in the middle of the Helghast triad symbol with his arms fall to his side matching the same direction its upper arrow lead. The soldier who now identified as Rico look at the Autarch with scornful look before morphing into regret. Madness, Visari managed to speak, the madness. Begin. He looked towards his killer with dead eyes staring deep into Rico's eyes. And the world will know. You are the one who disturbed the sleeping dragon, he said as he just breathed his last breath. Playback end. Stall POV. As the video ends I could see Ophis clenching her fists so hard that I can see blood trickling from her fist. That son of a bitch, she growled. That was supposed to be a simple capture mission on their part, but that buffoon can't keep his emotion in check and let it taking over and chose to kill him instead capturing. I made a big mistake by showing her the footage, but I couldn't stop revealing it to her. She deserved to know this as she and Visari were close friends. I know it is hard for her to take it, but she want me to tell her everything I know about the war. And I happily oblige. I already expect her to do something rash, so that's why I pled to her. But that doesn't mean she won't do anything rash. RRAAAARRRGGHHHHH. She roared and rushed toward the sliding door and clonk. Did she just punch through a steel door? A 14-inch thick sliding door made of reinforced steel? And she just punch it like hot knife through a butter? I heard a rumor in 2350 that she used a giant sword against Radek and Kobar, who use STA-3 LMGs in 2 versus 1 duel and winning, and also a rumor where she's capable of lifting a crate filled with heavy weaponry with 2 fingers. But this is clonk clonk clonk. I'm going to find that MOTHERFUCKER and gut him like a dead fish. And I will hang him with his own intestines. I cringed at her blunt outrage. Ouch, and here I thought Metrak and Kobar is psychopath. I almost feel sorry for you, Rico. Almost. Clonk clonk clonk. With each punches I can feel my room. No, the entire complex is shaking from the impact caused with her fist. I know she's strong, but this kind of power is unworldly? Now it's kinda makes me scared about her power. If she had the power to turn Helgen to a third Earth and that's her trying to make our lives better, I don't want to know what will happen if she's rampaging. If the hole in the wall is any indication. The punching stop. I saw her slump to the ground as her servants come to her. The female one hugged her tightly while Regret whispered something to her. It doesn't take long though. As she raised back up, she walked toward me. And that's when I feel my body stiff and a dreadful feeling come washing all over me. I looked into her eyes, not her usual onyx eyes but an eyes of something that coming out from horror stories. Those red sclera eyes with black slit and reddish-black veins surrounding her temples with some sort of scales appearing on her neck. I feel like staring into death itself. To my reliefs, her eyes morph back to her usual onyx eyes and the veins start to subside back to normal. Sorry you had to see that. What was that? I asked fearfully. What was what? Those red eyes, bulging veins, and that jet black scales. I know it's rude to ask a lady such question, but I'm curious. Let's just say, that's my power leaking, she said dismissively. Okay, I'm not going to pry any further. It's rude for me if I trying to sat my curiosity. So any other questions you want to ask? What happened to the others? Lente, Haka, Kratek, and Orlok, she said with hollow voice. Lente and Haka died in a space battle during the invasion of Helgen, Kratek died during nuclear detonation in Firis, and Orlok, I hesitant again, how couldn't I have a hand on. Died in his cruiser defending me so I can fired irradiated petricite missile barrages against them. As soon as I said that, I practically jumped from my seat and take a step back as I felt the same dreadful feeling now engulfing my body, and it seems intensified when I look at her red eyes with slits. You weaponized irradiated petricite? You finally resorted to something so low that those fools would do? I saw her move closer to me and the dreadful feeling intensifies. Give one good reasons I shouldn't kill you. Stall? She said uncaringly. I have good reasons, but will she accept it? I hold my hands forward while I start begging for my life. Ophis, please, I beg you to understand that we have suffered too many losses against them. We were desperate from so many deaths caused by them. Please. Please understand, we need some kind of deterrent against their WMDs. And it can only be achieved by irradiated petricite. She walks toward me. Look, I know you're upset, but we don't have a choice, and I regret creating the monstrosities. What do you mean? She stopped her advance. Like I said, I regret it. After Orlok died, I snapped and fired the missile barrages against the opposing forces. The missiles get their job done quickly, and the energy shielding we deployed have rendered ESA snow missiles ineffective, decimating those fuckers like no tomorrow. But I didn't count a squad of ESA forces to hijack several of our strike ships. I grimaced. Every strike fighter were equipped with a specific code that can be used to bypass my cruiser's shielding for refuel and rearming purposes. Using that as an advantage, they destroy my ship's warp coils, and my cruiser were descending fast towards Helgen sky. I explained. I managed to stabilize my cruisers, but I was above the ruins of Pyrrhus, where we first discovered the irradiated petricite and contaminated large part of the city. Not taking any chances, one of the strike ships launched another nuke to my ship. I grimaced at the memory. The nuke destroyed my ship along with the petricite. I escaped in time though. However, due to the volatile nature of the irradiated petricite, it caused massive explosive chain reaction that engulfed Helgen with radioactive mist, until today. I finished my explanation to her. She narrowed her eyes whilst giving me a look that pierced my soul, preventing me from moving. Then she closed the distance between me and her. Well, this is it. My reasons are not good enough to convince her, and she's going to kill me. She touched my forehead with her index finger and closed her eyes. What is she doing? For the next few minutes she keeps standing still with various expressions: anger, sadness, straight, etc. When she moved her finger, the next thing I know I was embraced by her in a warm hug. Ophis, I'm sorry if I doubt you. She apologized. I was entering your mind to confirm your stories. Entering my seriously? She can do that? What's next? Creating a clone of herself with her with a trickle of her blood. And I apologize to ever doubt you. It's okay, I don't mind. It's understandable, I said as he released her embrace from me. Is there anything else you want to know, Ophis? I asked again as I saw her with hopeful look. Just few more things, stall. Ophis Pav. What about Hera and the survivors? Please give a good news. I already had enough bad news for one day. I saw him placing a small smile on his face. Hera. She's safe, hiding in a safe house in planet Gyre. Oh, for goodness sake. I feel relieved hearing my little princess is safe. With her protection detail team disguised as civilian. As for the survivors, he stopped talking and his face scrunched up as if he just realized something. Now that you mention it, I was supposed to receive the report about the living settlement few minutes ago, right when you punch the door, he said as his eyes widened in realization. Oh, my self, did I just? I quickly turned to my female servant. Suffer, open that door, see if there's any injured personnel. I ordered. On it. She quickly rushed to the door, hoping it would slide open. Damn, it's not opening. I'm going to pry it open. Stahl raised an eyebrow at my servant declaration. Pry it open? Miss Suffer, that door is a reinforced steel with advanced locking mechanism. You can't just. His word died down as he heard metal screeching, courtesy of Suffer prying the door wide open. Or yeah, you could just pry it open. Minutes later. Thankfully, the soldier who was supposed to deliver the report were unharmed but found scared shitless behind the door. The Helghast quickly gave the report to Jorhan and made a beeline out of this place while keep saying, I'm sorry, until it fade away with him disappearing on the corridor. I'm the one who should say sorry, not you. Damn it, I heard Jorhan cursed. What is it, Jorhan? Jorhan, close and throw the report away. Food, water, and medical supplies is all-time low. The petricite generator is half depleted, and many refugees start getting sick. If this going on, we can only live for another 2 or 3 days before they killing each other fighting for food. Fuck my life. What about the MREs? He scoffed. Hey, we're eating that meal, ready to excrete, since day one. Like I said, we're stripped out of luxury 6 weeks ago, and that means eating that shits to survive. He ran his hand through his hair and slammed it on his desk. We're doomed. Man. This is bad. I gotta do something before everything went south. Do you have any mess hall? And where's Med Bay? Jorhan lifted his face with curious look. What are you going to do? A smirk formed on my face. You'll see. Underground complex. Mess hall. Hours later. Third POV. It's lunchtime and some of the Helghast people gather inside the mess hall usually. People will always chatting about what they will eat however. Here we are eating a barf bag again. A male Helghast spoke. I rather eat grenade or bullets than that, meal. Ready to expel, the other spoke. Hey, don't eat that. We need it if any spiders or bugs decided to attack the complex, a Helghast soldier said taking it seriously. I'm joking, soldier. How did you find with MRE? I don't want to know. I don't want to eat that dump, a young female Helghast said. Come on, be grateful you still can eat, the other female said positively. It seems no matter where you are, either in different dimension or different galaxies. MRE or meal ready to eat will always be hated and only be touched when there's no alternatives. Their purpose is to provide soldiers or survivors with food that can be served quickly, but many of them were not very palatable, earning them many unfavorable nicknames. The Helghast civilians and off-duty soldiers now lining up in front of the food stall waiting for the chef to get their food when they noticed Jorhan's stall entering the mess hall. My fellow Helghast, he said as he walked toward the food stall near the kitchen on the far side of the hall where the Helghast lining up gaining every attention to him. For 6 weeks we have been stripped from luxury and forced to live this kind of hell, and this, he held up his MRE bag. Abomination that we were forced to eat, have keep us alive, but today, he throw down his MRE and pull a shotgun out of nowhere and shoot the MRE. Due to the closed space, the sound amplified several times forcing the civilians to cover their ears. We won't eat this. Shit in disguise. He gestured a soldier to take his shotgun and give it to the soldier, because someone has decided to contributed to make us food today. Murmurs and whispers can be heard among the crowds wondering who would so kind making those foods and how they made food when there's no ingredients left. Chairman Stahl, what do you mean someone cooking for us? We don't have any food ingredients left after the Petricide Terracide, how they can cook for us? One of the civilians asked. Another murmurs and whispers can be heard questioning their acting leader. Yeah, how? We're dying here, please don't give us false hope, asked another one. Jorhan smiled toward them. Don't worry my fellow Helghast, for she have her own way to access the resources. I guaranteed, you will be satisfied with her godly food, he finished. She, were the collective thought of the refugees? Really Jorhan, really? You need to work on your speech, and did you really have to shoot that poor MRE? Hearing a feminine voice coming from the kitchen, the collective Helghast civilians and military alike widened their eyes, gasping at the person emerges from the kitchen. Lady Ophis, one of them said with stutter. Ophis walked out of the room revealing herself to everyone in the mess hall. Sorry, it's my first speech and that abomination kinda deserve it. He apologized while justifying his act on destroying the MRE. Nice outfit by the way. Ophis roll her eyes. Well, it's not an outfit, more like she wear a white apron over her tight leather jacket with a white high chef hat like those in high-class restaurant. Oh shut up you. She looked toward the lined-up Helghast now with bright faces, happy no longer need to eat from MRE and the one they considered as their god making it just for them. Can this day get any better? Ophis smiled and asked them with a cherry voice, so who's hungry? Done. That's all for now. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments.